Welcome to the 21 Lines of Inquiry podcast that's all about helping you discover your UCW, your unique contribution to the world. Join us as we delve into the 21 questions that will help you be more intentional about bringing your gifts into your career and your life overall. So when you're ready, let's get started. Hi, it's Anita, and in this episode, we're going to look at what is the biggest thing holding you back in your career right now. Just because you have a unique contribution to offer the world doesn't mean the journey is going to be plain sailing or without struggle. In fact, quite the opposite. Deciding to follow your own path is the road less travelled, and listening to your true calling can often involve overcoming many obstacles, and some of these might be holding you back without you realising. Now, this was certainly the case for Jia Jiang, now an international author and keynote speaker who grew up in China and moved to the US when he was 16. At the age of 6, Jia had developed a crippling fear of rejection when his teacher decided to teach the class the importance of giving compliments to each other, and so made each person stand up, and then the teacher invited the class to give compliments for that person. And when it came to his turn, no one could think of anything nice to say about him. He felt so publicly rejected that he decided at this point he'd never let that happen to him again. Well, fast forward 6 years, Bill Gates came to his hometown of Beijing to speak, and Jia was so impressed that he thought, wow, I want to be the Chinese Bill Gates, and he told his family, by the age of 25, I'll build the biggest company in the world and it will buy Microsoft. However, fast forward another 16 years, and Jia was by now 30. He hadn't built the company that had bought Microsoft, but more importantly, he hadn't even made a start on his dream of being an entrepreneur. He was, yes, now in the US, but just working as a middle manager in a corporate job. Now, there's nothing wrong with being a middle manager in a corporate job if that's what you want to do. The point here, it was far away from his dream of being an entrepreneur. And one day his wife said to him, "What happened to the guy I met with so many ideas of starting a business?" And he thought, good point. So he quit his job and he started to build a company. But as he went around trying to get investment, he got rejected, and this completely crushed him. After a while, Jia realised his fear of rejection was a bigger obstacle than any single rejection would ever be, and he needed to find a way to cope with being told no without letting it destroy him. So he decided to create an experiment to experience 100 days of rejection, during which he would willfully go out and seek rejection on a daily basis. Now, he hoped this would be a kind of immersion therapy where he'd eventually learn to conquer the fear of being rejected by getting used to it, and he decided to make a video blog to capture the experience. Well, what follows is both hilarious and eye-opening, and I've put a link in the notes to this episode so you can watch for yourself. I particularly like the experiment on day 3 when he goes into Krispy Kreme and asks for 5 donuts linked in the shape of an Olympic symbol, and the response he gets is not at all what he expects. So I invite you to watch that for yourself. But what Jia learnt from this 100-day experiment of seeking out rejection experiences was that actually by facing his fear and moving towards it, he discovered a world of opportunity that had always been there, but he hadn't been able to see it as his own fear of rejection was holding him back. But more important, he learnt techniques for steeling himself against rejection and ways to develop his own courage so that he wouldn't have his own plans and dreams derailed by a single setback. Now, Jia himself has turned into the world's foremost expert on rejection and now gives talks, and he's written a book to help other people deal with their fear of rejection too. And I've put a link to his TED Talk in the notes to this episode. Well, I love this story not only because of its hopeful message and inspiring example, but because I myself struggled with a similar reaction to rejection around 15 years ago in my own career. I'd just joined UBS, the Swiss bank, in the wealth management division. And the way it worked was we were not just given clients to look after, we had to go out and find our own. Now, this involved a lot of cold calling and other sales techniques, and as anyone who's worked in sales knows, a lot of no's before you get to a yes. I too found it difficult not to take the rejection personally, and I noticed that my emotional reaction, how I felt inside, often seemed disproportionate to the rejection that I was receiving. I confided in a friend who suggested that it may be worth looking into what was making me react this way, and like many firms, we had an employee assistance program where you could call confidentially and get some free sessions with the therapist. So I did this, and it helped me hugely to gain awareness of things from my earlier life that I hadn't realised were impacting me in the present, and to be able to take the rejection less personally. And doing some of this inner work definitely helped me to face future situations where I might get rejected with more confidence and courage. So what about you? Take a few minutes now to reflect on your own life. What would you say is the one big thing that holds you back from your dreams or from following your own calling? Maybe it's a fear of rejection or failure, or a kind of imposter syndrome feeling that you're not good enough, or maybe it's something else. So take some time now just to think about this for yourself and write down your thoughts. What is a small experiment that you could create for yourself to test out if this really is as true as you believe it to be? And then, when you're ready, I'll see you in the next episode.